Hello, it is Tara from Sojourn Psychology, and I am going to talk about finding our voice. Now, this is something that is often spoken about. People want to encourage people to not feel bullied or ridiculed or under the thumb of somebody else, to not succumb to hate speech, to not succumb to others' violent protest, lack of forgiveness, defamation of character, all of these things. We don't want to stay silent under the voice of accusation. But it's scary, right? That's a scary thing to figure out. And we need the encouragement from people who love us and know us to say, I see who you really are. I hear you. I see you. I know you. Because that's one of our greatest longings is to be seen, to be heard by loving ears, to be seen by loving eyes, and to be known by a loving mind. It's hardwired into us. It's something that I wrote a whole book about. And I strongly believe these things. I didn't always believe that. I didn't always know that. I'm not a perfect person. I've hurt people. People are hurt by me. I'll probably hurt some more people as I continue to live in my human life. So there's no perfect person. Sometimes we think that the freedom to have a voice is reserved for those who are better than us. That's just not true. Waiting for you to be the best person you can be before you can start advocating for yourself is just not going to happen. We have to start somewhere, and that's the scary bit. So we shared this post on our social media this week, which people were really interested in. There's lots of interaction. Is this a statement? I'm sending love to everyone who is trying to rediscover their voice after life made them believe that silence was safer. I just totally relate with that comment. I think that when life became very unsafe for me, I really fell into a silent place in my social life. I've struggled to believe in friendship. I struggled to believe in relationship. And I don't know if this is the right word, but I'll say it this way. It seemed easier to just try to hide away because I felt so unsafe. But hiding away perpetuated other problems for me. When we're hiding away, when we are sitting in shame, guilt, or humiliation, I wrestle with feeling humiliated personally. That's one of the ways that I feel when something bad happens. When people voice really terrible things about me, I do feel humiliated, but I've made friends with my humiliation. I name it, I know it, I talk to it. Hello, humiliation. What's going on? Just like shame or guilt, we can see these parts of who we are and converse with them. So not only being vocal, having a voice outward in relationships with others, but also finding our voice outward can really start with finding our voice within. These different parts of who we are that we identify and we know and we love on our inner child. I just shared a picture of my inner child on my social media because I love her. And I think it's important to have a picture of that little child somewhere that we see so that I see her and I'm hearing her voice just as much as I'm hearing the voice of humiliation or shame, just as much as I'm hearing the voice of shame and excitement, because I am an excited person the majority of the time. So believing silence was safer, and there's a place where silence is safer. But isolation is the risk. If we only live in the safety of silence, the risk is isolation. And within isolation, there's a lack of accountability. There's a lack of connectedness with people who really do love us. Some people are not going to love you. Some people do not love me. I'm the antagonist in some people's story, and that breaks my heart. I am heartbroken for the relationships that I have failed or misserved, just as many of the people who are listening to this are. And I sit in a lot of forgiveness for the relationships that have failed and misserved me. It took a long time. To reconcile what was unreconcilable with others, to reconcile that within myself. And I think that's part of the pain as well, when we start to get stuck in our silence, when we get stuck in our isolation, in our I belong alone. I'm using some lines from my book. If you read it, you might be able to tell. But aloneness is the opposite of love. And aloneness is not our true nurture and nature identity. And aloneness is not God's view of us. We are always included in the same heart of love, or it is not love. Love sees us. Love knows us. Love hears us. You know, God has this loving mind and loving eyes and loving ears. Now, when our human relationships have destroyed us, or we have had somebody who has perceived us as destroying, it's really painful to consider that there is this more beautiful, brilliant, supernatural love that everybody's included in. Even the people who've hurt us, even us who has hurt others, we're all included in love. That's hard to wrap our brains around. So finding your voice is important. It's really, really hard though. And I thought about a few different ways of how I've made meaning for this in myself since I've become a keeper of nonviolence, since I am growing in my understanding of social justice. I'm participating in a second master's degree studying the spiritual principles of social justice. It's really important to me. I wish I would have discovered that a long time ago. It would have been so helpful for me if I pondered and thought about what is nonviolence. I wish I would have known that when I was younger, but here I am, thankful to know it now. My nonviolent protest is to be a decent human being. And I think that that is a place where I really started to recover my voice, participating in the fullness of who I am, that writing my book and putting it out there, and the experience of being in the fullness of my humanity in this grander mass of love where everybody belongs, has also helped me to feel my voice is supported. What's strange is there's people like me who has been vlogging since 2020 lockdowns, and I talk and I teach and I help people, and I'm a good psychologist. But in the silence of fractured relationships, I lost my voice with myself for a lot of years. I was pouring from an empty cup in some ways. It doesn't devalue the good things that I've contributed. So if you see yourself kind of similar, I think there's a lot of hustlers out there. I have some great girlfriends that are moving mountains. And when we talk in our private life, they're feeling empty on their good days. And that can feel very silent. So no matter what, if you feel like you're contributing nothing, if you feel like you've just locked yourself away in utter isolation and your voice has been so taken from you, that's okay. And if you are out there contributing and giving to everybody else in a way that you're not able to give to yourself, that your beautiful words are given away but not given to you, that's okay. And if you're further along and you found your voice and you're listening to yourself inside and you are expressing yourself on the outside, that's okay too. Maybe this is just a reminder of a place that you used to be in and that you've moved past it. But the other part is with discovering our voice doesn't mean we have to go out and be louder than other people or crush others with our opinions. We don't have to prove somebody is rotten to the core. Don't do that, because that's not good for your soul. Actually, that's violence. And violence robs you of being connected to yourself and connected to others. Don't spread hate. Yeah, you hurt other people, but I don't want people to sit in a place of hate. because that makes me feel pain to know that others are sitting in a place of hurt, hate. Nobody deserves that, to live with a hateful opinion. Nonviolent protest. Doing no thing is not doing nothing. Do no harm. Do no harm. And we can trust that everybody is just walking each other home. Ram Das, baby, Ram Das. We're all just walking each other home. And I don't have control over other people's steps and path, and other people don't have control over my steps and path. I don't have control over you finding your voice or trusting anything that I say. And releasing ourselves to just participate and be loving, to be loved, lovable, and loving. I am loved, I am lovable, and I am loving. It's not just that you're loved. It's not just that you're lovable. And it's not just that you're loving. It's all three. It's all three. Somebody is loving me, so I am loved. They're loving me because I'm lovable. Even with all my fucked up flaws, I'm lovable. And I am loving. And the more I sit in a place of understanding that nonviolent protest is to be a decent human being, the more I can participate in the fullness of my loved, lovable, and loving nature. And that helps my voice. So I'm using a lot of proxy voice in this, but I think I'm speaking more from the heart than just trying to reiterate things. It was really hard when I lost my voice and I locked myself away for a really long time. And isolation is a gross place to be. I love my practice of solitude, and I do like a lot of alone time, but I like a richer place. And I also, in my practice of solitude, there is voice in that, and I can ask for help and still be alone at times. Yeah. So sending love to everyone who is trying to rediscover their voice within and their voice without, after life made them believe that silence was safer. Silence is not safer. And loving words is the most beautiful gift we can give to the world around us. Also, what we speak, our brain is listening to. So be careful what your mouth is saying, because your brain is always listening. Don't hardwire hate into your head. That's just going to ruin your life. Let's be mindful to speak love and hardwire love into our brain. Find your voice. It's worth it. I want to hear from you. I want to know who you are and how you are. And there are other people that do as well. So if connecting with me is not an option because I'm a talking head on social media or whatever, then connect with one of your very loving people. Here's a point to ponder. With whom do I feel most loved, lovable, and loving? How will I connect with this person? What do I begin to speak about the truth of who I am to somebody who truly, truly honors my identity as someone who is included in the same heart of love as everybody else? Okay, you guys. Yeah. If you have a comment, drop it. If you don't, I'll see you next time.